What's up, guys? Today we have a Ford F-150, the literal king of trucks since its introduction in 1948. For over 40 years, the Ford F-150 has been the best-selling truck in the United States, and for over 30 years, it has been the best-selling vehicle in the United States, period. It is not only the king of pickups, it is the king of vehicles in the US. In 2018, a Ford F-Series truck sold almost 30 seconds, making for a grand total of nearly 1.1 million trucks sold globally. So why is the Ford F-150 such a big seller? Let's find out. But first, a big thanks to Koons Ford of Baltimore and especially Desmond. If you're looking for a new Ford in the DMV area, this is a great place to be. And if you are new to the channel, please like this video and consider subscribing for weekly car reviews like this. And thanks to those who have already subscribed to us. Now let's get onto this truck. Now at the front of this Ford F-150, I really like the front of these new Ford trucks. They look really menacing with these gaping holes in the grille on this top and bottom, and besides this big Ford emblem here. Another thing I really like about the front of these trucks are these U-shaped headlights. They look absolutely sick. They're so intimidating. They're so large, and it's a common theme with all the Ford trucks to have the U-shaped headlight. So it's a nice commonality throughout the Ford lineup in the F-Series. Another thing I really like about the front of this car is this chrome. It complements this blue color really perfectly. And funny enough, Ford calls this blue color blue jeans, which is really funny. I don't know why. I mean, I guess it's a Ford truck, you know, it's a work truck. You're in your blue jeans, you're doing work with this truck. Now the side of this car, there's not too much to talk about. It's just a real nice truck shape. One interesting thing I found though was these wheels are called 20-inch chrome-like PVT wheels or something. I don't know why they're chrome-like. I guess they're not full chrome. I don't know, but I like them. They look good. They suit this blue jean color, as I stated before. Besides, you just have your normal truck things, big door handles, big mirrors. You have a keyless entry code if you want to use that, if you don't have your key. One thing I forgot to mention about the side that I really like is how these door sills, they're not kind of wrapped in chrome, which you'd normally expect from trucks. It's this nice matte, not matte black, but this nice black paint that just gives it a nice clean look and kind of a mean look. Not really, it's a work truck, right? You don't want chrome there, you want a nice black paint. Now that you're in the bed of this F-150, you can see how there's bed lights on the side here. We'll show you a close-up of that. And you have this nice bullet liner. This is imperative for work trucks to have. It's got a nice grippy surface. It's rough, and it's durable. It is so much better than the metal with the painted surface. You need to get the bullet liner. Now Ford has 6 different engine trims to choose from. So whatever your towing capacity, power needs are, Ford has the answer for you. The one we have today in this XLT is a 3.5 liter twin turbocharged EcoBoost V6, producing 375 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. This engine makes this truck have a towing capacity of 13,200 pounds. And for all those other engine trims, we'll have a chart down in the description, or we'll put it up on the screen for you to see, because they're all varying. So no matter what your needs are, Ford has you covered. One interesting thing personally for me that I had noted when I saw this engine is how big the tubing was from this air filter. Like, I've never seen it on any other truck or car. It just gets sucked in, and it's massive, and it just comes all the way across. So a big problem with trucks in the past was always the miles per gallon. It's a heavy truck, you're towing things, it's big and tall, it's not aerodynamic. MPG has always been a problem. In the past, Ford introduced its aluminum body frame. It cut the weight down like 700 pounds and improved the MPG. And now again, they're even raising it up. With this 3.5 liter V6, you get 17 city and 23 highway for a 19 combined. And that's pretty good for a truck. Now, if you're towing things a lot, you probably want to opt for the turbo diesel.
All right, before we jump inside, guys, a quick apology from me. So when we go to the interior, you're gonna hear me say lariat a lot. That's just from our written script and whatnot. So I am sorry about that. This is an XLT, which is a trim below the lariat. And also you're gonna hear me complain a lot about the cloth and plastic. Cole personally thought, since this is a work truck, those materials are better. Personally, I would, at 55 grand, I don't think you get to call it a work truck anymore. So just keep those two things in mind as you watch the interior. Sorry for the mistake, we'll do better next time. Thank you for your understanding. And it's time to start the interior review of this F-150, but first I want to touch on safety. The 2019 F-150 has a 5-star NTHSA safety rating. It offers some impressive active safety features standard, such as automatic braking. This goes beyond the F-150 lineup, as Ford is making their suite of safety systems called Ford Co-Pilot 360 standard across their lineup. lineup. This includes pedestrian detection, blind spot warning, cross traffic alert, and lane keep assist. It is an awesome thing that Ford is including these luxury features on some of their more blue collar trucks. And in fact, they're planning on expanding this to almost all of their North American vehicles by 2020 as standard equipment. That is very cool. First, I'm going to start by talking about sort of my thoughts on the interior general looks in this F-150. And what I have to say is, frankly, it's a tad disappointing at a price point of around $55,000 MSRP. First of all, at $55,000 MSRP, you're expecting a nice looking vehicle. And on the outside, this definitely is, but in the interior, not so much. So what am I talking about? Well, I'll get into materials and function later, but I'm just talking about general looks right now. This whole front area looks very basic to me. It just looks like a slab of black plastic with 2 air vents, and it looks like it was very much just stuck there. I know that these trucks are supposed to be utilitarian, but at $55,000, I would like a little more luxury. So now let's talk about some of the materials and functionality. All right, so now let's talk a bit about materials. As I just mentioned, this truck comes out to an MSRP of around $55,000. At that price point, I would expect some leather. These seats right here being made of this cloth, I'm not a fan. That's something I would expect to find in a base level truck, not in a $55,000 mid-trim Lariat. So let's talk about the seats a bit. Comfort, they're okay for cloth seats. These are good for cloth seats. If you saw our Silverado video last week, those were so much comfier than this. Now that truck was much more expensive, about $20,000 more expensive if I remember correctly, but still, I would much rather take a long trip in those seats than in these seats. These seats are power adjustable, however, so that is something I like. This truck does have a power equipment package on it. Other materials, the steering wheel materials. The steering wheel is nice and thick, which I like, much thicker and better than the Silverado one. But then there's just lots of black plastic on it, lots of black rough plastic. And that's not the only place you're gonna find this rough black plastic. Well, as I previously mentioned, you just have a big slab in your center control panel. Oops, I accidentally hit the fan right there. Sorry if that made our volume go whack, but you have this big slab of black plastic, and I don't like it. There's some fake chrome that's okay looking on the air vents. At least they rubberize some of the knobs. That I do like. It makes them easier to grip. Looking at your doors, you got hard touch plastic. You do have a soft armrest. That is actually very nice. It's a very nice armrest. But again, hard plastic here, just plastic, and cloth. And at $55,000, that's not cool. Okay, so I just want to briefly talk about the driver's position and whatnot here in the F-150. As with all trucks, you do get a very high up commanding view. There's a Mustang parked right in front of me, and it is very low. I can't even see the front of it, which is pretty nice. That's a big reason people buy these trucks, you know? Interesting things I want to note for the driver. You have power adjustable pedals. You can move them forward and back. I find it interesting that they have that and the power adjustable seat. So you really can find the perfect sitting option for you here in this truck. Something else I noticed is there's a little plastic imprint saying F-150 on the side of the truck when you get in here. So that is sort of a neat feature. And 2 final things I wanted to point out while sitting here. One is that you have a power sliding rear window, which is a nice feature. The Ranger we were in a while back had a manual one. And the other thing I wanted to point out is sort of this perforated material up on your windshield. They put Ford in there, and that is something super cool. That's a cool attention to detail. And one final thing, actually I keep saying one final thing, but one other thing that our cameraman Colin pointed out to me that I did not think to mention is the cool Ford door handles that they put on all their trucks here. That is a cool feature. It's cooler than a normal door handle, and I like that design element. Okay, so we're here and we're gonna take a bit of a look at the technology in this truck, starting with your center driver's area. At the top, you can see those 4 gauges right there that are physical. I like how trucks do this. The Silverado did it. Now they're digital on that truck. But in this trim level, the Lariat on the F-150, they're physical. I like the look of those. I like how Ford does the blue needles. On the left, you have your tachometer. On the right, you have your speedometer. Not too much to mention about those. And then in the middle, you do have a small screen on this Lariat trim, which you can, it has a variety of functions you would expect. There's not too much special stuff I found in here. In this menu right here, you can see all sorts of fun facts about your car. This is your trips. Towing is somewhat useful. You can create a trailer and tell the truck about the trailer, and it will adjust your trailer sway control and whatnot. based off of that information, which is pretty neat. Your off-road, this truck does have the FX4 package, so you see you have your power distribution, off-road status, so that's your angles and whatnot, and some useful features right there for off-roading. Overall, at $55,000, I might like a little teensy more. However, this is perfectly fine. So now we're gonna be taking a look at the Sync 3 infotainment system. If you have watched some of our other Ford episodes, you know that we here at Gas Guzzlers are a pretty big fan of this system. I'm not gonna hit audio because then the music will start playing and it's annoying. You have your phone connectivity, your navigation. You do have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay in this vehicle, which is very nice to see. But it's a very nice system. It is very snappy. The odd thing actually is this. When Colin and I got in this car, we turned on the AC because it's a very hot day and we didn't want to be all sweaty in the video for you. But for some reason, we could not find climate control in the Sync 3 system here in this vehicle. Normally we can find climate control in the Ranger, we found it, in the Expedition video we found it. For some reason, we might just be completely missing it. We're not seeing it here. But thankfully you do have your physical controls for this vehicle. Before we pan down and talk about those, I do just want to point out up here you have your hill descent control, traction control off, hazards, and your auto start stop for your engine, which is going to be standard on every F-150 pretty soon. But now we can start moving down a bit and you will see that we have what I was complaining about, just this black plastic mess that's not really acceptable at a $55,000 price tag. But the one thing I will give it is it's very utilitarian. This is probably super easy to clean. And also, with that being said, these buttons look like they would be easy to push and use if you had big heavy duty work gloves on. So that is something that's very nice to see. You do have a full-size power outlet. You can't see it just off screen right here, along with a cigarette lighter right here. On the left side, you have your drive mode control, your 2 high, 4 low. Again, this does have the FX4 package. And then below that, you have your trailer backup. This is actually a really cool feature Ford has, and you can turn this knob and the truck will help you back up with the trailer. The truck will calculate it and do all the turning for you. That is a super cool feature that they have in these trucks. Moving down from that, you have your heated seat controls and just your general climate controls. It is very nice to have heated seats, even if they are cloth. You have your rear defroster, stuff you would typically expect. And below that, you have 2 USB ports, a cigarette lighter, and then you also have a nice little storage cubby. One thing I found kind of interesting about the storage cubby is the button to open it is actually a silver button that says Sync 3 on it. I don't know why they put that down there and instead of putting that labeling somewhere here, but you know what? It's all good. I like it. Here we are in the back of the F-150, and I just am going to quickly talk about the features and amenities back here, of which there are not many. So in terms of comfort, you are pretty close to your front seats. How the seats feel, they feel fine for cloth seats. Again, I would prefer leather, especially at this price point. You have the same cool door handles you have in the front. You unfortunately do not have the ability to open this window because this is power, and as I mentioned previously, is controlled from the front. There is not a lot of storage back here. This does not fold down. This does not have an area that folds down for cup holders, which is kind of disappointing to see. Also disappointing to see no air vents back here. At 55 grand, at a mid-trim level, you would expect to start seeing some air vents for your rear passengers. Other than that, though, you do have a dome light and you do have plenty of legroom. So again, this truck is very utilitarian, and this back does say that. You don't get a lot of creature comforts, but you get what's important, legroom and space for your people.
Shout out Koons Ford of Baltimore for hooking us up with this great truck. The reason Ford is such a bestseller is because even though it has the cloth seats, even though it has some amenities lacking, it's a work truck. It's durable, it's been tested for years. That's why people buy this car, this truck, and that's why it's the best-selling vehicle in the United States. Please consider subscribing if you like this video, and stay tuned for a Ford 250 review.